Hi everyone. So today we are going to create our CICD pipeline to deploy our microservice to EKS cluster. So this is how the workflow is going to be. We are going to have our code committed to the GitHub, and we're going to use a CICD tool, which is Jenkins, to deploy our application to EKS cluster. We are going to use Maven as our building tool, and we're going to build our Docker file and deploy and push our image to ECR, which is AWS private repository. And we're going to pull our image and deploy our image to EKS cluster, basically. And for our infrastructure as code, we are going to use Terraform to provision our EKS cluster. And we're also going to use Terraform to provision our Jenkins server, basically. So this is the workflow for what we're going to do today. So let me go to my file explorer. So right here, I'm going to open, I've already created my EKS cluster because it's going to take like 20 minutes for EKS cluster to be set up. So before I start recording this video, I've already created the EKS cluster. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create my Jenkins server. So I'm going to open this folder in the Visual Code. So as you can see, this is my scripts to install my Jenkins server. So this is the ec2.tf, and once this ec2 is installed, I want to actually install some shell scripts. I'm going to pass some shell scripts right here, so that once this thing is once this ec2 is installed, it can be able to pass like a shell script to install everything I have right here. So it's going to install Java, it's going to install it's going to install Git, it's going to install Maven, it's going to install Jenkins, then it's going to install Terraform, HashiCorp, then it's going to install kubectl, it's going to install Docker, then it's going to install mchat as well. And it's going to install AWS CLI. So this is the script basically. So in this particular ec2.tf, what I'm saying right here is that once this ec2 instance is provisioned, it should SSH inside the ec2 instance. I specify where my key pair is, right, which is the home directory. This tilde sign is like the home directory, then /download. My key pair is inside my download folder. So when I show you, so like when I come here now, then this is download. So let me try to search for DevOps key pair. DevOps key pair. So as you can see, this is the key pair, right? So this key pair is inside this download folder. So that's why. So that's what I actually reference right here. As you can see, under 108, I reference my DevOps key pair, and the user is going to be Ubuntu, and the type is going to be SSH. So I want it to SSH into my EC2 instance and install this shell script, what I have here, right? And as you can see, this so this is the resources I want to provision. I want to leverage on T2 small. This subnet ID is going to reference the subnet I have right here. As you can see, I've already specified the subnets here, right? You should use the default subnet. Then you should provision this Jenkins server into the default VPC, right? And you should use this VPC security ID. I've already specified all what I want to like all my inbound rule and my outbound rule, the ingress and the egress, right? And my key name, which is the key pair name, is DevOps key pair, and this is my tag. I name it Jenkins server, right? So what this null resources is going to do is that this null resources function is that once this EC2 instance is provisioned, you should wait and SSH into the EC2 instance and install everything I have inside my shell script right here. So this is what it's going to do. So now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open a terminal and I'm going to run a Terraform init first. So this is going to initialize my backend. It's going to provision all the dependencies required. Then the next thing I'm going to run validates, which is Terraform validates. Then after this, then we are going to run Terraform plan. Yeah, so what is about to provision, like it's about to provision five resources, right? So after this, then we're going to run Terraform apply. Terraform apply, iPhone auto, iPhone approve. So why I specify this auto approve, because I don't want it to prompt me the yes or no question. Then I'm going to use this command auto approve and enter. So this is going to take like 3-4 minutes to provision, because it's going to install everything I have here, all these configuration files: Jenkins, Maven, JIT, Docker, mchat, Terraform, kubectl, like AWS CLI, so like it's going to install everything I have in this shell script. So this is going to take like 5 minutes for you to provision. And let me show you my EKS cluster as well. So this is the script I use to provision my EKS cluster. Yeah, so let me try to maximize this. So this is the script I use to provision my EKS cluster, right? And this is this is what provision the VPC for the EKS cluster, right? And I have my TF right here, which is my variables, right? Which is the VPC's CIDR block I want to use. This is for the private subnet CIDR block, and this is for the public CIDR block, right? And this is the EKS cluster.tf basically. So this is what provision my EKS cluster for me. I've already provisioned this, right? So let me navigate back to Jenkins to see if Jenkins is installed. So this is still actually installing. So it's going to take like a few minutes for this to install. So since I have my EKS cluster installed, so the next thing I want to do, because once you provision your EKS cluster, you are supposed to update your kubectl. So the command to do that, we are going to run AWS EKS updates kubectl. All right. Then you are going to specify the name. The name for my EKS cluster is my app, iPhone EKS, iPhone cluster. And the region I'm using is US East 1, US East 1, right? So you specify the region and you're going to type enter. So this is going to actually update. As you can see, it's update kubectl. So I've now updated my kubectl. So now I can be able to run kubectl get nodes to be able to see the numbers of nodes. So these are my nodes, and my nodes is ready. You see it has been provisioned 3 hours ago. So now let us check if we have any application running. Let us check deployment first. So we are going to run kubectl get deployments. As you can see, there's no resources found in this default namespace. So let us check if we have any pod running. There's no pod running basically, but let us see. So you see no resources found. So let us check if you have SVC, which is service. So we have when you provision your EKS cluster, it's going to provision a service for you, and the type is also cluster IP. The name is Kubernetes, right? So, and what we are trying to do now, we're trying to deploy our application on top of this EKS cluster. EKS cluster is a managed Kubernetes service, and is a very, very scalable orchestration tool. So that's why we are leveraging on EKS. So let us see if Jenkins is provisioned. So let me navigate back. As you can see, it's still provisioning. I think now is provisioning, is installing Docker, right? So it's going to take like a few minutes. And this is like an automation, because we don't need to SSH into our EC2 instance and start installing, right? We use Terraform to provision the EC2 instance, and inside our EC2 instance, inside our Terraform, we automate that it should install all the necessary softwares we need for our application. So we need to install kubectl, we need to install Java, we need to install GIS, we need to install Maven, we need to install AWS CLI, we need to install Docker, we need to install mcharts, so, and that's what you are seeing right here. So what this is going to do for us, when you see this shell script, like, it's going to clear the screen, it's going to sleep for 5 seconds, and it's going to print Jenkins is installed, and also it's going to cut the password and print the password for me as well. As you can see, it's completed, apply complete resources, 5 added, and it's already printed my default password for me, which is this command I have in this number 54. And this website URL is what I have here. When you check this last stage, I said it should output the public IP address, the public DNS name for my EC2 instance, which is this. So I don't want to go to I don't want to log into AWS to grab my IP address. So that's why I said it should output my IP address, basically. So that's what this particular syntax is doing. So now what I want to do, I will just place my cursor right here and click on follow link. So this is going to open. So I want to open this in my, I want to open this in a private tab. So let me come here and let me open my Jenkins right here. Let me Ctrl V, enter. So, all right, so right now it's prompting for the default password. So let me go back to my VS Code to grab that. So this is my default password. I'll copy this and I'll paste right here. So now you can be able to so let us install suggested plugin. I'm going to click on this. So my EKS cluster is up and running, and my Jenkins server is also up and running with the help of Terraform. So now let me use this name. Let me set my password. The name, let me use this and save and continue. Save, start using Jenkins. So what I will want to do first, I will want to install the necessary plugin required for our project, and I will want to set credentials, basically. So I'll go to manage Jenkins, and I'll go to manage plugins, and under available, what I need Docker plugin. So I'm going to install the necessary Docker plugin required. So let me just stick all this to make sure there's no any bottleneck. So let me install without restarts. Yeah, so this is restarting, then go back to the top page. So the next thing I want to do, I want to go to my manage Jenkins, and I'll go to manage credentials. So right here, I want to set my AWS access key and secret key, because I want to give that in my Jenkins file so that to be able to log into the private repository and also to be able to pull image from the repository, because we're going to create a private repository on AWS right now. So what I need to do, I need to actually set the credentials right here. So I'm going to click on global credentials. I'm going to click on add credentials. So for me to set my credentials, I'm going to choose secret tests. So you need your secret access key and your access key ID. So first, I will want to set my access key ID first. So let me grab my access key ID. Your access key ID, you can be so let me grab my access key ID. In my own case, I can be able to grab it under my .aws/credentials because I've already configured that under my like in my VS Code, so I can be able to grab for that. So let me do that real quick. So now let me grab for my credentials. So the first one I want to configure is my access key ID. So I'll pass it as a secret right here. I'll Control V. Then this ID, I have my Jenkins files and there's a particular name I gave my ID. So I want that to be consistent. So let me go back. So let me go to my Jenkins file and pick that the ID I gave it. So I gave it AWS access key ID as the name. So let me Control C so that I won't, why I want to do this, so I won't be able to, so I won't come here and start editing or start changing the name of the credentials. So now let me go back to my credentials and I'm going to use this AWS access key ID. So this is the name and I'm going to create. So I've saved my access key ID and I'm going to add another credentials. I'm going to choose secret test. So right now I want to set my secret access key. So let me grab that real quick. V, then right here, then I'm going to go back to here and use this credentials ID I've already set in my Jenkins file. I'll Control C. I'll go back to my new credentials and I'm going to give it right here and I'm going to create. So right now I've already set my managed credentials, the credentials required for this project, which is the access key ID and the secret access key. So the next thing I want to do, I want to go to my AWS and I want to go to the ECR and create a private repository because we are going to push our image. I think I've already have one, so let me delete this. I think I'm no longer using this. So now let me create a repository. If you want to create a repository, you are going to hit on create repository and let us create a private repository, and this is the name format. It's gonna go like your account ID .dkr.ecr the region you are .amazonaws.com. Then right here you can be able to give it any name you feel like. So in my own case, I'm going to name mine Jenkins pipeline. So leave this as default and you're going to create a repository. So once this is created, is a private repository. So you are going to need an IAM role so that your Jenkins server can be able to shake hands with your with your private repository you created. So let me navigate to IAM role. So before you navigate to IAM role, you need to navigate to EC2. So under the EC2, we are going to select, let me instance. Then this is my Jenkins server. Then I'm going to select this and I'm going to click on action. And I'm going to click on security. I'm going to click on modify IAM role. And right here, I'm going to create an IAM role I'm going to use. So I'll hit on create. So in this place, basically, the IAM role I want to, so I'm going to hit on create a role. So the common use case here, I want to create a role for EC2. So next, then I want to attach ECR full access policy. So let me, so I think you just search for this Amazon EC2 container registry, right? So which is this. So I'm going to pick this. Next. Then you're going to set your role name. So my role name, let me name my role name Amazon EC2 iPhone ECR role, right? So let me name this. So let me give my role name this, and this is the policy I attached. Then I'm going to create a role. So the role is already created. So I'm going to go back to this terminal. I'll refresh this, and I'm going to select the role right here. So which is Amazon EC2 iPhone ECR. So I'm going to update my IAM role. So I've created my private repository and I've updated my IAM role or my EC2 instance, which is the Jenkins server basically. So now let me go back to my Jenkins. Also, I've installed the necessary plugin for my application. So what I need to do, I'll go back to my dashboard and I'm going to create a new item. So in this item, I'm going to give, here, let me name my job, deploy app to EKS. I'm going to choose pipeline. Okay. So right here, you can be able to, so you can set, so here we are creating a declarative pipeline, which is a pipeline script from source code management. I'm going to select this, and here is going to ask for, we're going to give JIT, and it's going to ask for our GitHub URL. So let me grab that. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to copy my GitHub URL from where I have all my code committed. So I'm going to give it right here. And I'm going to apply and save. So now I've already created a job. So the next thing I want to do, I want to create, I'll go to my GitHub to set my Jenkins file. So let me come here. I've already have a Jenkins file ready. So what I just need to do, I just need to update some parameters. So this one is this version. What this version is doing is that whenever I run my build, the build is going to come with a build ID. So I want to reference the build ID. So that's what I give right here. So I'm going to use this parameter inside my Jenkins file. So this is like an environment variable. You can set that here. So this is my account ID. I set from line 4 to line 9. I set it as an environment variable. So this is my account ID. This is the default region, which is US East 1. The image repo name, I'm going to grab the image. I think I name my repo Jenkins pipeline. In your own case, it might be different. So you want to go to your Amazon ACR and grab the name of your repository, right? So let me go back here. So this image tag as well, I did what as what I specify in number 4, that's what I did here, which is whenever I run my build in Jenkins, it's going to come with a build ID. So so I want to use that build ID basically. So this is how you reference it, and your repository URI. So let me remove this and let me go get my repository URI. So let me go to my Amazon ECR. This is the URI from my repository. I will copy this and I'll come back to my Jenkins file and paste it here. So this is for the repository URI, and this is for my Git checkout. I specify my Git URL, which is this, and this is the syntax where Maven is going to build the code, and this is where it's going to perform. This is MVN tests. So in line 32, you need to specify your secret key and your access key so that I can be able to, as you can see, log in into AWS ECR. So for you to log into your AWS ECR, you need the secret key and the access key. So that's why we set this under the managed credentials. We have already passed the value for our secret access key and our access key ID, right? And this is how you reference. And this is the best practice because it's not actually right for you to add code your secret access key and your secret and your access key ID in your Jenkins file. It's just for you to set it in your managed credentials and reference it anyway, basically. So that's what I did here. And this is a shell script. This is how you can be able to log into your Amazon ECR, AWS ECR get login password, -- region. So this particular region you are saying here, I've already give the value inside when this particular syntax, right? This is the value. US is the one, number 6, right? Then, so I want to log into ECR. So the next thing, this is the login, AWS gets login password, the region, I've specified the region, which is US is 1. Then Docker login, the username, AWS, -- password, -- right? So this is the account ID. This is the account ID. So this particular account ID, I've already set it as an environment variable, which is what we have here, right? And when you check this region as well, this region is also set as an environment variable. So this is how I can be able to log into my AWS ECR as a shell script. So this is the next stage is Docker build, right? And Docker build, I want to tag it the image repo name and the tag, right? Image repo name is already set right here. Image repo name, which is Jenkins file, and image tag is the what? Image tag, I want to tag it the build ID. Once I run my build in Jenkins, I want the ID, I want to actually reference it, and it's going to pick the value and tag it right here, which is the image tag. While the next syntax is image pushing to ECR, basically. So Docker tag, so if you want to push to ECR, I retag it, right, which is the image repo name, image tag, repository URI. My repository URI, the value is right here in this number 9, right? And so basically that's how you actually tag. And if you want to push, Docker push, then you specify your image name, basically. So this is my image name. So I'm pushing this to my ECR, which is the private repository we hosted on AWS, right? So the next thing is to pull the image and deploy the application on our Kubernetes cluster. So you need to give your access key and your secret key, which is right here. And don't forget, we have set this under the managed credentials. So the next step is for us to install, is for us to deploy, basically. So for you to deploy, you need to, the reason why we install AWS CLI in our Jenkins so that we can be able to run AWS command, right? So now we want the first shell script, update the kubeconfig. Once you update kubeconfig, log into the AWS ECR, which is the private repository where our image is pushed, and pull the image and use mchat to deploy. So mchat on a high level, mchat is like a package manager. You can be able to use. Imagine maybe now you have like 20 microservices you want to deploy, and this microservice will have the same as we have the same the same type and everything. So you can be able to use mchat, have one particular deployment.yaml for all the microservices, basically, right? So with the help of mchat, you can be able to use that. So let me show you how mchat actually is. It's inside this Kubernetes folder. So let me come here and I'll go to my app, and this is my mchat basically. So in the mchat, like mchat is a bunch of for files and folders, a bunch of YAML file. So this value we have here, this is where you set your values, like just your variable. You can set your value, your variable right here, and reference it in another file, right? So we have set some variable right here, which is the image, the replica count, and the service type and the port, right? So this is our value.yaml. And this is our chat.yaml. Here you can leave this as default. Then let me go back. So under this, so this is the ignore. So this one is also created by default when you run the m command to create this bunch of YAML file basically. So now let me go to my templates. So in this my template, I have my deployment.yaml and my service.yaml. So this deployment.yaml, this is what my microservice is going to inherit basically. So the spec, this is the replica. So this replica is going to the value as set for my replica in my value.yaml. So this is how you use it. You are going to use .values the replica count. The value is what is 2. When you go inside the value.yaml, you are going to see the value for this replica count set to 2, right? So this is how you reference what you set inside your value, right? And see how we reference the image.repository as well. The value is inside our value.yaml. Image pull policy as well, right? So the next thing we want to do, let me show you a service.yaml. So this service.yaml, this is, we all know that service is what we use to expose our pod or our application running on Kubernetes cluster to the outside world, right? So in this particular service, this is what our microservice is going to inherit. We specify the target port as 80, and the ports, we say you should go and pick the value inside the value.yaml. And when you go there, you are going to see that the port is set to 80 as well, right? And the protocol is TCP and name HTTP. So basically, this is how we use. So now our application is going to make use of this deployments.yaml and service.yaml basically. So let me go back to my Jenkins file. So I'll do so this is the m command to use m to deploy to your Kubernetes cluster, which is m upgrade -install -set image.repository. So this is my image. So this is my repository name, right? So this is my repository name. I set my repository name. So so the name, when you check your Amazon ECR, you are going to see this name right there. The value for this account ID is inside. When you scroll up, you can be able to see the value right here, right? Which is this. So this is my image name, and this is the release name, which is my Java app, right? And this is the name of my application, basically my app. So now, this is how you actually use M to deploy to your Kubernetes cluster. So what we need to do is, so now I think we are good with the setup of our Jenkins file. So what I need to do, I'll need to go back to my Jenkins and trigger the pipeline. Jenkins file is happy. So what I want to do, let me see. I think there's no changes I actually made here. Or do I make any changes? No changes basically. So that's why you see this thing, there's nothing showing right here, right? So this commit changes is not highlighting because I didn't make any changes. I think what I have in this repository URI is still the same because I name my repository Jenkins-pipeline. So let me cancel this. No any changes. So I'll go to my Jenkins and I'm going to trigger the first build. So let us see if our build is going to be successful. So I can be able to check the console output by clicking here. So I think the build failed. So now we are getting permission denied while trying to connect to Docker, right? So what this is, okay, let me see. So yeah, so what we need to set, we need to actually, okay, so we need to SSH to our EC2 to our EC2 instance with our Jenkins server and run systemctl and run sudo systemctl restart Docker, because when you check inside our shell script, so when you check inside our shell scripts right here, we have already configured the user mode command, right? So what we are supposed to do here in a line, after line 33, we are supposed to run sudo systemctl restart Docker and sudo reboot. So we don't have that in this our shell scripts. So we need to actually log into our AWS to our Jenkins server. We are going to SSH into our Jenkins server and run the sudo systemctl command. So let me grab the IP address of my Jenkins. So let me open my SSH client. So let me log in. So the username is Ubuntu and SSH. We are going to specify our key pair. Okay, so let me try it again. So let me set my username Ubuntu, and I need to specify my key pair. An error occurred while starting the following. What's happening? Okay. Let me close this mobile stem. Let me exit and let me open it again. Yeah, so now what I need to do, I'll need to run sudo system ctl restart Docker, and I need to reboot. Sudo reboot. So this is gonna take like 1 or 2 minutes for it to reboot. So let us wait for this. So, but for the meantime, let me go back to my pipeline. As you can see, I'm getting a permission denied. So that's why this build actually failed, because it's trying to log into a private repository on AWS, which is ECR, and is unable to log in because we did not restart our Docker after we run the user mod command. So once you restart your Docker, then you need to reboot. So when you reboot, so that we can be able to take effect of the changes you just made, right? So let us see if that is going to solve the issue. Let me go back. Let me try to run. Yeah, I think it's still rebooting. So let us give it some time. So let me try to check. Okay, let me type R. Yeah, so I think it's fully restarted now. So when I try to, I think this is going to prompt me for another login for my Jenkins. Yeah, so I need to re-log in. Let me specify. So let us run the pipeline. So let us log into the console output and see what is. As you can see, the Docker login is succeeded, and now is building the Jenkins, is building a Docker file. Still building a Docker file. Yeah, so as you can see, the build is successful, and this particular image has been pulled from ECR and it is deployed to our Kubernetes cluster. As you can see, it logged into the ECR and pulled the image. And as you can see, login succeeded, and it was able to take the image and deploy the image to our Kubernetes cluster. So for us to be able to check this, so we are going to log into our Kubernetes cluster and see if our Kubernetes app is running. So let me come here. So let me go to terminal, new terminal, since I have, okay, firstly, let me run kubectl get node. The node is up and running, then I'm going to run kubectl get deployment, what we just deployed now. As you can see, there you go. Our deployment is up and running and is ready. The age, 89 seconds. So we just deploy this. So let me run kubectl get pods. So this is our pod. As you can see, our application is ready and is up and running. So let me check our kubectl get SVC, our service. There you go. As you can see, the type is load balancer, and this is our DNS name for our load balancer. So this deployment we are seeing here, and this service, it was referenced inside our M chart, right? And the type, we said it should provision a load balancer for us. That's why you see under the service.yaml, we said the type should be load balancer. So that's why we have a DNS name here. And our deployment as well, we leverage our deployment.yaml. So we set the replica set to be 2. That's why you see the pod we have our up and running is always 2, right? So the next thing we want to do, we want to view our application to see if our application is working. We are getting response. So we're going to copy this DNS name. Though at times it takes like 4 to 5 minutes for it to actually propagate in the browser, but let us check it out and see. Yeah, so as you can see, I think it's still propagating. So let us wait for a few minutes. Yeah, there you go. As you can see, this is our app, and our application is up and running. I got this application code from Aziz. Big shout out to Aziz. I got the code from his repo. So, and this is a dynamic website basically. So as you can see, you can be able to check about us. It's going to you can be able to see another content. Yeah, I think it's still propagating basically. I guess it's my internet. So I think yeah, it's coming up now. So while this is still coming up, then let me show you the Amazon ACR. Let us check the images that we just deployed. As you can see, this is the image. It's now showing now. So let us deploy another image. So let me go back to my Jenkins. So let me trigger another build. So the pipeline is running, Maven, test, login to AWS ECR, building image, push image to ECR. You can be able to see that in your console output as well. It has logged into, so successful. So now let me go back to Amazon ECR. Let me refresh this. If you can be able to see the new image we just pulled, right? Yeah, as you can see, we now have like another image right now of the same type. That's why you see if it's different type, it's going to come under another line. But because it's the same type, that's why we have the 2 and 3 right here, right? If it's different image, then if you have another update, then it's going to actually be in another line, basically. So now this is how you actually deploy push image to image repo and pull the image and deploy the image to your Kubernetes cluster. So yeah, so there you guys, you can see the about is open now. So this is a full dynamic website. So this is how you can actually leverage on deploying your application on Kubernetes cluster. We leverage on ECR for our private repository. We use Jenkins for our CICD pipeline, and we use Github as our central repository, right? And we use Maven to build our code. We build our Docker file, and we push the image to the image repo and pull the image and use mchat to deploy our application to our Kubernetes cluster. So this is what we just did today, and thank you so much.